Just 2 weeks after his $3 million Bali wedding, black tech billionaire Zachary Carter live-streamed the drowning of his wife and her lover, transforming paradise into the world's most chilling crime scene. He'd built his empire on trust and innovation, but when betrayal shattered his world, the honeymoon became a deadly spectacle. Subscribe if you want more true stories of betrayal, luxury, and murder behind closed doors. Subscribe and join our channel for shocking true crime revelations. But let's go back to where it all began. Zachary Carter had spent his whole life outsmarting fate. From Chicago's South Side, he clawed his way into Silicon Valley royalty, fueled by tireless coding and a charisma that left investors in awe. By 32, everything he touched turned to gold. Apps trending overnight, snippets of his personal story looping through every TED Talk and business magazine in the world. But beneath the headlines was a man obsessed with legacy. That's what brought him to Bali. The $3 million wedding, orchestrated with military precision. Drones filming tropical sunsets, venture capitalists toasting with imported champagne, influencers flooding Instagram with envy. Standing beside him, Vanessa, ex-model, rising media star, beautiful, unpredictable. To everyone watching, this was perfection, the ultimate power couple, redefining what was possible. For the first week, the honeymoon felt like a dream. The villa overlooked an endless turquoise sea. The staff bowed at every request, and even Zach's notorious workaholic tendencies faded against paradise. But soon routine shifted. Vanessa always kept her phone close, slipped out before dawn, and returned from her private gym sessions flushed, secreting glances and sly smiles. Zach noticed, but ignored, until a misplaced phone revealed a notification meant for someone else. The sender, Andre Lewis, Vanessa's personal trainer, newly employed by Zach himself. At first, Zach downplayed the texts as work-related, but passwords cracked easily for someone who'd built a tech empire on making secrets visible. It started with sweet nothings and flirty emojis. Soon, the messages exploded. Coded rendezvous, passionate confessions, plans for just 10 more days. In less than a day, Zach pieced together every detail. Hotel invoices, security feed timestamps, even the GPS tracker in Andre's gym bag. He watched their pattern unfold. Midnight swims, villa meetups, stolen kisses tucked away behind a schedule designed for deceit. For the next few days, Zach wore his mask well. He planned a comeback party for friends, flashed his signature smile at hired photographers, and in every shot, kept Vanessa close enough to pretend. But inside, rage boiled, cold and logical, guided by a mind used to solving problems with finality. The 12th night, he summoned Vanessa and Andre for a private dinner at the infinity pool, sunset painting every lie in golden light. As plates clinked and laughter faded, Zach produced evidence. Texts, receipts, security videos. Vanessa went silent. Andre's bravado collapsed. Zach's words were measured, every syllable weapons grade. You treated our vows like a business pitch. Now see how deals end when you bet everything on a lie. A knife glinted, not for show, but for control. With security locks triggered from his phone, escape was impossible. He forced them into the pool, letting the surveillance cameras tell the rest. Water thrashed, screams echoed, desperation as naked as the truth. In minutes, both victims slipped under, the water stilling as Zach paced the marble edge, face unreadable. The live stream went out to a private server, then zipped across encrypted channels as Zach dialed his attorney and left the confession to police. Resort guards tried breaking down doors, but technology blocked every route. By sunrise, news swept across continents. Journalists tore through social media histories, sponsors ghosted, and the story of Zach Carter flooded every device. Genius turned executioner. The man who made his own downfall a spectacle no one could ignore. In court, Zach's defense unraveled. He spoke quietly of betrayal, of paradise lost to digital shadows, but jurors saw only vengeance. Life imprisonment, his empire liquidated to pay restitution, his legacy spinning between tragedy and cautionary tale. But the real story was more than numbers and headlines. It was about the limits of loyalty, the cost of secrets, and the dangers lurking beneath every dream sold as perfect. Zach's $3 million wedding was never about love. It was about winning at all costs. And in the end, that's what made it so easy to lose everything. Vanessa Jordan wasn't born into privilege. She earned every spotlight through sheer willpower and calculation. Growing up in Atlanta, the youngest of five, she learned early that beauty was currency and ambition was survival. By 16, she'd signed with a mid-tier modeling agency, escaping a crowded apartment and a single mother stretched too thin. The runway taught her to walk with confidence even when broke, to smile through exhaustion, to never let anyone see the cracks. By 24, modeling gigs dried up, too old for high fashion, too ambitious to settle for catalog work. That's when Vanessa pivoted into marketing, leveraging her Instagram following and industry connections to build a brand consultancy that caught fire among tech startups desperate for polish. Her life became a carefully curated performance. Luxury hotels, exclusive parties, strategic friendships with investors and influencers. She dated strategically too, venture capitalists, entrepreneurs, men who could elevate her status. But none of them satisfied the hunger inside her, the need to be more than arm candy or a marketing asset. Then came Zachary Carter. Their first meeting was electric, a tech conference in Miami where Zach delivered a keynote that had the room mesmerized. Vanessa approached him afterward, confident and quick-witted, offering branding advice he didn't ask for but desperately needed. Within weeks, they were inseparable. Zach saw in Vanessa the perfect partner for his public image. Beautiful, articulate, ambitious. Vanessa saw in Zach the ultimate prize. Wealth, influence, and a man who'd worship her as his equal. But beneath the fairy tale, Vanessa felt suffocated. Zach's relentless schedule left little room for spontaneity. His obsession with control extended to their relationship. He tracked her calendar, questioned her friendships, monitored her social media posts for brand consistency. What started as protectiveness felt more like possession. 6 months into their engagement, Vanessa began therapy, trying to articulate the emptiness gnawing at her. Her therapist suggested she was losing herself in Zach's shadow, that she'd traded one performance for another. The wedding planning intensified everything. Zach micromanaged every detail, from guest lists to seating charts, treating their union like a product launch. Vanessa smiled through it all, but privately, she was drowning. That's when Andre Lewis entered her life. He was hired as Vanessa's personal trainer 3 months before the wedding. Zach's idea, actually part of getting her camera ready for the big day. Andre was different. Easygoing, present, attentive in ways Zach never was. Their session started professionally, but shifted when Vanessa broke down during a workout, overwhelmed by wedding stress. Andre listened without judgment, without trying to fix her. For the first time in years, Vanessa felt seen as a person, not a project. The affair began slowly. Lingering glances, accidental touches, late-night texts that crossed professional boundaries. By the time Vanessa recognized what was happening, she was already in too deep. She told herself it wasn't real, just a distraction from the pressure. But Andre made her feel alive in ways she'd forgotten were possible. He didn't care about her follower count or her networking skills. He cared about her laugh, her dreams, the person buried beneath all the performance. The guilt ate at Vanessa, especially as the wedding approached. She considered calling it off, confessing everything to Zach, but the thought terrified her. Zach's love felt conditional, dependent on her being the perfect partner he'd envisioned. Any crack in that image might shatter everything. The wedding, the lifestyle, the security she'd fought so hard to build. So Vanessa made a choice. She'd go through with the wedding, end things with Andre quietly, and commit to making her marriage work. But on their wedding night in Bali, as Zach held her close and whispered about their future, Vanessa felt nothing but dread. The text from Andre didn't help. He was struggling with the breakup, sending desperate messages she couldn't bring herself to delete. She told herself she'd handle it, that Zach would never find out. But Vanessa had underestimated the man she married. Zach's genius wasn't just in building apps. It was in seeing patterns, exploiting vulnerabilities, solving problems with ruthless efficiency. And once he sensed something was wrong, Vanessa's carefully constructed world began to crumble. As dawn painted Bali gold, Zachary Carter's mind spun with data and suspicion. He'd always trusted code more than people, and now the clues were stacking up like lines in a breach firewall. Surveillance footage, scrubbed from hotel staff eyes, preserved on his own server, showed Vanessa's shadow slipping out at dawn. Transaction logs revealed sundry purchases for two, gym keycards swiped after his wife insisted on morning yoga. GPS pings from Andre's duffel bag, placed there as a tech gift, confirmed what he feared. The trainer's path converged with Vanessa's, far from any scheduled session. It wasn't just betrayal, it was patterns, hidden until you decoded them all at once. Zach's approach was methodical. He didn't rage, didn't confront. He observed, gathering digital threads until the tapestry of deception was complete. He scrolled back through private messages and saw intimate jokes, shared playlists, low-res selfies snapped on moonlit terraces. A sense of unreality washed over him. At every press interview, every congratulatory call, Zach wore his mask and played the part. But at night, he became a different animal. Alone in the villa's soundproof study, he sketched timelines and scenarios. When the affair began, what moments had been staged right in front of him, how public humiliation might play out if word got out. He saw his empire, a billion-dollar trust economy, threatened by the thing he couldn't control, human nature. Meanwhile, Vanessa was unraveling. The pressure of hiding her double life, orchestrating excuses, covering phone calls, managing Andre's growing desperation, nearly broke her. Guilt and anxiety bled into arguments with Zach over trivial things. She became sharp, erratic, easily startled by every notification. She rehearsed breaking up with Andre, but always lost her nerve. Desperate for closure, she asked for one more secret meeting. Andre, for his part, was both hopeful and bitter. He'd fallen hard, convinced Vanessa would leave her billionaire husband and throw caution to the wind. But her mixed signals pushed him to recklessness. He started showing up uninvited, texting from different numbers, whispering threats laced with heartbreak. As Vanessa grew distant, Andre became volatile, his affection flipping to resentment. When Zach finally invited both to a private dinner, Vanessa suspected nothing. She hoped it was an attempt to reconnect, while Andre dreamed of forcing a resolution. The sun set indifferently, shadows flickered across the marble deck, and a tension neither could name hung heavy. Drinks were served. Zach steered the conversation with eerie calm. Then, without warning, he produced damning evidence. Recordings, transcripts, locations, secret passwords, laying their lies bare on the digital altar. Vanessa sobbed, the facade shattering. Andre cursed, then begged, then threatened. Zach's response was clinical. "You hack my trust. The fix is permanent." The moment the words landed, boundaries shifted. Violence was an algorithm, the solution cold, absolute. In the space of minutes, paradise crumbled. The infinity pool would remember their struggle, the thrashing, the choking, the silent, endless blue. And Zach, untouched and unmoved, captured all, certain the world needed proof that even in paradise, nothing was ever truly secure. Night swallowed the villa, leaving only the pale shimmer of the infinity pool and the lights Zach had set to privacy mode. No staff, no outside eyes, just digital eyes recording every second. He watched Vanessa and Andre closely. Vanessa was pale, trembling, mascara flecking her cheeks, her voice cracking as she begged for some kind of mercy. First for herself, then for Andre. She reached for Zach's hand. He jerked away, ice in his veins. Andre oscillated wildly between anger and pleading, his bravado gone, panic shining through the sweat on his brow. He demanded an explanation, asked if Zach wanted money, threatened exposure that was already useless. Zach's reply was measured, each syllable deliberate. "You broke the system. You thought rules were for others. He described the evidence: voice clips, GPS data, encrypted chats pulled from cloud storage. Vanessa, realizing just how deep Zach had burrowed into her privacy, broke down, admitting the affair, apologizing, promising loyalty. But Zach didn't want her apology. He wanted closure, the kind that only a hard reset could deliver. He unlocked the knife from its case, not brandished but kept close enough to make his threat clear. The confrontation sank into chaos. Andre tried to push Vanessa behind him. Zach anticipated, stepping between them. A struggle erupted. Andre lunged in panic. Vanessa screamed. The knife flickered between anxious hands. The scene unfolded not in a blur, but with algorithmic precision. Zach forced both toward the deep end of the pool, holding the knife just enough for compliance, never for carnage. Vanessa slipped, her body crashing into cold water. Andre followed with a muffled shout, both surfacing briefly before Zach kicked in the security shutters. He wasn't screaming. He was instructing, narrating. You wanted freedom. You wanted secrets. You lost everything. He let the cameras run, capturing underwater thrashing, Vanessa's desperate grabs for the ledge, Andre's futile attempts to haul them both out. The water churned, memories of luxury and romance dissolving in the violence. When silence returned, Zach remained by the edge, tensed but unshaken, blood spattered on his sleeve from Andre's clawing. Zach didn't run. He walked calmly to the villa study, called his attorney, saved a copy of the surveillance. Evidence of motive, method, confession. He left the live stream online for one person only, his chief of security, who was already flying from Singapore. Resort staff broke in after 45 minutes, finding him perched on the marble steps, absent, almost serene, as if he'd completed the hardest calculation of his life. Police were rushed in by local authorities. One officer, traumatized by the scene, would later say, "It was like walking into a tech demo, everything controlled, recorded, nothing random except their deaths." Zach handed over his devices, his server passwords, a written confession. "I built a world on trust." They crashed it. The media storm hit globally, his wedding trending for tragedy, Bali's tourism board scrambling for damage control, investors issuing frantic denials, influencer guests deleting photos. Vanessa's family demanded justice. Andre's family mourned a love never meant for headlines. The formal interrogation was clinical. Zach explained his actions with chilling logic, never raising his voice, never letting emotion break through the codes of control. He detailed every proof, every breach, every reason his empire had to end, because the lie Vanessa lived was one he couldn't debug. At trial, Zach's defense hinged on betrayal and loss of sanity. Prosecutors, unimpressed, focused on his calculated manner, his refusal to show regret. The digital evidence removed all doubt. News outlets looped the court recordings, pundits debated tech surveillance and relationships, and public opinion split. Some saw Zach as a monster, others as a man broken by a world where privacy's illusion was always paper-thin. Sentencing was swift, life without parole. Zach's assets were auctioned off, his company dissolved, his app stores locked. Bali closed the villa for renovation, but rumors persisted. Staff claimed you could still hear echoes in the water at night, the last gasps of a honeymoon ruined by data, deception, and doubt. But the deeper tragedy was universal. Trust built from nothing, love interrogated by paranoia, paradise obliterated by secrets no machine could ever fully contain. The witnesses suffered, the families mourned, and Zachary Carter learned, too late, what every human eventually does. When you gamble everything on perfect control, you lose more than you ever imagined. 6 weeks after the murders, the echo of Zachary Carter's crime had not faded. It amplified. Bali's luxury villas stood abandoned, guests canceled bookings, and the local press ran daily features. When paradise turns deadly. International news outlets dissected every detail, the surveillance clips, the chain of digital evidence, the intricacies of a tech giant's fall from grace. Zachary's mugshot became infamous. He no longer looked like a billionaire innovator, but a haunted man, eyes hollowed by regret and certainty. His trial was a spectacle. The prosecution painted him as cold, calculating, and obsessed with control, the tech overlord who weaponized every gadget for murder. Vanessa's family sat through every session, her mother shaking whenever Vanessa's voice played in court. A final voicemail never meant to be public, whispering, "I'm terrified." Andre's relatives fought tears, their anger sharpened by the revelation that Andre's ambition to rise above personal trainer status had ended not in triumph, but in tragedy. Zach's legal team tried for sympathy, recounting the months of betrayal and humiliation. They presented a relationship autopsy, Vanessa's loss of identity, the suffocating demands of public perfection, the endless pressure to perform. But digital records removed all doubt. Judges and jurors replayed encrypted texts, time-stamped video, voice logs, every part of their world quantifiable and damning. Zach, himself, never played for mercy. He detailed his methods clinically, mapping each escalation, all logic with no grief. The prosecution's closing argument struck deepest. He built a life on data and control, then destroyed it for vengeance. The verdict, life without parole, was decisive. In the days that followed, Zach's enormous fortune was liquidated. His properties were auctioned to pay millions in damages to Vanessa's and Andre's families. The Carter software empire vanished. App stores wiped his brand and AI tools from existence. Collaborators gave interviews swearing they had no idea, while former staff described a culture built around secrecy, perfection, and paranoia. Zach's private villa was repurposed as a memorial, but guests reported eerie sounds, rippling water, distant gasps, arguments floating through moonlight, as if the crime itself haunted Bali. Yet the world didn't just mourn scandal. It reevaluated trust, relationships, privacy. Think pieces flooded the internet. Is surveillance romantic or deadly? Can tech ever fix betrayal? Couples debated the fairness of phone checks. Businesses banned workplace relationship tracking, and every major podcast covered the Carter case. For Vanessa's mother, closure was impossible. She appeared once on national television. "My daughter lived for love, not control. Let her memory be a warning. Don't trade your heart for security." In prison, Zach was a curiosity, a genius shrouded in infamy, studied by criminologists and psychologists. He kept to himself, coding algorithms on scrap paper, sometimes scribbling messages to no one. Interviews revealed flashes of remorse, but more often a search for answers. "Did I mean for it to end this way?" he murmured, more to himself than anyone listening. Or, "Did I already know love would fail the moment I tried to perfect it?" Years passed. The Bali murders became a cautionary tale told in universities, boardrooms, wedding retreats. The infinity pool, rebuilt and renamed, became a place locals refused to swim. Rumors claimed it was cursed by heartbreak and greed. Children who'd never met Carter knew the story as a ghost tale. The billionaire who lost everything to one night's collision of secrets and rage. And somewhere inside every couple who whispered, "Are you hiding something?" the shadows of Zachary Carter's fall lingered. A reminder that paradise is built not on perfection, but on forgiveness, that control and love, once entwined, may tear apart even the best of intentions. Zach's legacy lived not in his code, his company, or his millions, but in a lesson that every human now had to face. Sometimes, the thing that keeps you safe is the very thing that destroys you.